Parents in New York City are protesting a controversial birth control program in the public schools. The city is giving the so-called morning after pill to girls as young as 14.
The drug is supposed to prevent pregnancy after the girl has already had sex, but some argue it can also cause abortions. Paul Strand has that story from New York.
Some New York parents are furious about the city offering students Plan B.
It's adding to the green light that we're giving to kids for risky behavior.
Child psychiatrist Dr. Miriam Grossman pointed out at this news conference, the schools actively try to scare students about what harm even one cigarette can do, but not about what one sexual encounter can do.
There can still be a pregnancy. You can still get herpes. Herpes, lifelong. Other STDs, HIV, these can all occur as a result of one poor decision.
These parents and their allies agree some 7,000 girls got pregnant last year in the city, with 64% of those pregnancies aborted. But Greg Funstein says this Plan B offer will just lead to more risky behavior, so likely more pregnancies and abortions.
You end up with actually more sexual behavior, and you end up with higher risk behavior, and you end up with an increase in STDs. And you have no change in the number of pregnancies and no change in the number of abortions because people have actually changed their behavior based on their perception of risk.
These parents and their allies agree with the city's point that only 1 to 2% of parents have opted their children out of getting Plan B if they need it. But these opponents of the city's plan say many parents are complaining they never receive the opt-out notice.
You cannot send a child on a class trip in the New York City public schools without the parent opting in and signing a consent form. So if they can reach the parents about class trips, why can't they reach the parents about this?
What we're finding here is government trying to usurp the role of the parent.
It's a selective nanny state, right? I mean, they want to control certain behaviors and they want to control certain outcomes.
It is a further endorsement of this philosophy of kids know best. We're going to leave it up to them.
They think as long as they can keep these babies from being born, everything is fine. We'd much rather see if they could help the kids behave in a more responsible way.
There it is, the irony of a city that's telling kids they can no longer have large sodas, but yet is going to give them pills that can lead to the kind of sex life surely most New York parents would disapprove of if they knew about it. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from City Hall, Manhattan.
Well, it is ironic that you can't have a big gulp, but you sure can't have an abortion pill. It doesn't seem to make much sense, particularly at age 14. Last I checked, that would be called statutory rape. So for that to go unreported and unnoticed and no parental involvement in that doesn't make any sense at all. Well, the morning after pill has also made the news in an important religious liberty case that's been going on for 7 years. Lee Webb has that story from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
That's right, Gordon. The Illinois Court of Appeals has ruled that the state cannot require pharmacists to sell the Plan B drug if it violates their religious beliefs. The court ruled Luke Vanderbleek and Glenn Kosarogue can refuse to sell emergency contraceptives like the morning after pill. Back in 2005, then-Governor Rod Blagojevich issued an emergency rule mandating they fill prescriptions for the drugs without delay. The American Center for Law and Justice represented Kosarogue and Vanderbleek in their lawsuit against the state of Illinois. They argued the mandate was a violation of their religious rights, and the appeals court has agreed. It ruled that the state's Healthcare Right of Conscience Act protects the pharmacists. Students gathered for the annual See You at the Pole event at schools across the country today. The tradition started more than 20 years ago in Burleson, Texas. Students from middle and high schools, as well as colleges and universities, showed up early to pray for their leaders, their schools, and their families. This year's theme, Awaken, taken from a prayer in the book of Ephesians. Students asked God to bring moral and spiritual awakening to their campuses and the country.
Today was a good day for me to participate at the poll was because I wanted to come pray for our school because a lot of people are confused in our school. They don't know what they want to do in life, and I see that every day in their eyes.
You're getting right with God. You get to talk to Jesus personally, and I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but I think it's important to.
The See You at the Pole movement, Gordon, has spread to more than 20 countries.
Well, I encourage people to participate in this. We need to realize that we can pray, we can, gather at schools and public places, and as long as it's voluntary, you can have a prayer. And we at CBN are calling for prayer for our nation. And it's a great prayer that they're praying at the pole which is let the eyes of your understanding be enlightened. Wonderful passage from Ephesians. That's a great prayer for America, that our eyes, the eyes of our understanding would be enlightened, that we would know the greatness of his power towards us who believe.